Hello, my name is Zombie878 and today we'll be doing a tutorial on making save slots. Like maybe you want to do a parkour map or do a story map, and save slot 1 is your save slot and save slot 2 is your multiplayer save slot when you're playing with your friend. So let's get into the room and I'll see you there. Hello, I am back, and now that we're in the room, let's get started. Just, we don't need beta content on. We don't need beta content on this time. So first, what we're going to do is we're just going to make 3 text signs that say save slot 1, 2, and 3. Once we get the text, place that down and make that a bit bigger. I think that's big enough. Then let's just move this over. So we have 3 save slots. Let's do save 1, save 2, and save 3. Now that we have our save slots, you're not going to be able to see these text lines when you're out of gadget mode. So let's get some trigger vials. We're going to be using CV2. This is not a CV1 tutorial. All the tutorials are going to be CV2, maybe with a little bit of CV1, but most of them are going to be CV2. So we're going to surround our save slots in CV2. Once we surround them with the trigger zones, now what we want to do is we want to get an int variable chip. So just type in int v and get an int variable chip. Gonna place one right here. And we're also gonna get an add and place it right below it. Let's connect our int variable chip and have it add 1. And we're just going to go ahead and copy this int variable chip for each one. Of course, we want to name the int variable chip something different. So I'm going to name this one S1. This one's going to be S2. And this is going to be S3. Okay, so now that we got that, we want to make them cloud variables. The cloud variable will save all your data to the cloud. So if you leave the room, it's going to save this data. So if it adds a 1 here, it's going to save to the cloud. The same with 2, 3, and every other number. It's going to save this number to the cloud, and if you leave the game and join back, this number will be the same. So if I leave and this is 1, I will come back and it will be 1. That's how we're going to save the progress. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make it so if we enter this trigger zone, it adds a 1. This isn't going to add a 1 for everybody in the room because it's only going to be your score. And now if I hit this, and this is going to be 1, let's make this 2, so 1, 2, let's make this 3, 1, 2, 3. Now if I save the room and come back, it should stay the same. So I'll meet you when I'm back here. Okay, I am back. And just to show you that I actually left, if we go to this room, it says the room visits is 2. So whenever you join back a room, the room number is going to go up. So this is going to still be 1, this is going to be 2, and this is going to be 4. I guess I accidentally hit it another time. Well, it does not matter. And now what we're going to do is we're also going to make a delete button for these saves, because how else are we going to get the cloud data back to 0? So let's just copy another one down here and make this delete. I'm going to move that down a little bit so you don't accidentally hit the wrong button. Just going to copy that over 2 times for each. Okay, we're gonna drag down this trigger zone with the clone and manipulate it so it can be our new delete button. So now what we're going to do is first let's get the trigger volume dings out of here. We don't want nothing touching our button. Let's move that a little bit forward. So we're going to copy just the int variables, not to add chips under it. We're just going to copy that, drag it over, and we're going to connect the delete button to the int variable. So now when you hit delete, it's going to be a 1. So right now it's a 4 when we enter and leave the game. But if I hit the delete button, then this is going to change to a 0. And if I hit this, it's going to be a 3 and 4 and 5 until I hit the delete button. Then it changes to 0. So I'm going to actually do that with all them. Hit the delete button for all them. So now that we have this simple setup made, now we're going to make it so if you hit 1, it disables the others. So let's say when you enter this, you are going to teleport to a different room afterwards. And obviously, since you're on safe slot 1, you don't want it counting anything for safe slot 2 or 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually copy these int variables over. Make sure they're right next to each other. And since this is save slot 1, we're going to wire this to save slot 2 and 3 to make them 0. The same with 2, we're going to take 1 and 3. And the same with 3, we're going to take 2 and 1. So we don't want 2 and 2 or 3 and 3. We want it to add 1 to 2, and it's going to make 1 and 3 0. So let's see, I'm on 3, so let's get a 2. And let's get a 1. So now, when I hit a certain save slot, it's going to make this one 1. And it's also going to activate this and make the rest of these 0. So now it knows that I'm on save slot 3. But if I hit save slot 2, then this is going to be 1. And the rest of these are going to be 0. So it knows I'm on save slot 2. And the delete button's going to delete your save depending on what save slot the delete button is under. So yeah, there you go. How to get save slots that will tell you what save you're on. The next part of this video, let's wire this up to something just to show you what this can do. So I'm gonna make sure I hit the delete button for all these. Make sure they're all 0. Okay, so now I am going to set up some respawn points. Well, not exactly respawn points. I'm going to set up, where is it? I'm going to set up welcome map. So I'm trying to find the welcome map. Oh, welcome maps v2 aren't enabled in CV if you don't got the beta content on. But whatever, we'll just use vector gadgets then. So I'm going to place one vector gadget here. We'll move it up a little bit. Want to make sure it's at least half of your height or up to your head. And what we're going to do with this vector gadget is we're going to get the transform chip. We also want to get position and get rotation chip. So type in get PO. We'll bring up get position. Place that there, and we need a get rotation. Gonna move this back a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna wire the vector gadget, obviously, so it gets the position of the vector gadget. Don't wire this. This is the actual vector. It's not gonna wire to this. You need to wire the actual gadget to it. So vector gadget, get position, get rotation. We're gonna connect them correctly, and the target will be the local player. So let's get a local player chip. And just place one down right in the middle of the room. And let's connect it to here. And now we're going to actually copy this over maybe about 2 more times. So let me move this over to the left a little bit more. Let's move this to the center of the room. And let's move this one to the right of the room. And just to show that it works, I'm actually going to get a prop and place different props in front of them so you know that we're teleporting in front of them. So this one will have a barrel in front of it. Just a random barrel. This one is going to have a backstop. And this one will have an... The AC unit's really big. I don't want nothing too big. Okay, this one will have a square box in front of it. So this will show the vector gadget is where we're gonna spawn, and this will show you that if we spawn here, this is going to be in front of us. Go ahead and freeze these so they don't move by accident. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have it to, we're going to get a event receiver since we don't really have the save system hooked up to any games. We're just going to get an event receiver for entering the room. It reads your save data when you enter the room. So we're going to get this and configure it to player joined. And then we're going to get a equals to chip. Equals. We're going to get an equals and if chip again. And the reason it's going to be equals and not greater than or equal to or less than or equal to is because we want the exact number. So if you have a 1 on your save slot, then it's going to transport you to the certain section we want you to go to. So we're going to go ahead and get save slot 1. And we are going to make it so if this is well, actually we're going to get a don't delete the if chip. We're going to get a greater than or equal to chip. First we want to read the save slots first. So we're going to get a greater than or equal to. Let's move that so it doesn't. And before we connect it, let's copy these 3 times because I'm not trying to spawn them over again. Okay, nice. And now we're going to connect this to save slot 1. We're going to connect this to save slot 2. We're going to connect this to save slot 3. So now whenever each one of those are either greater or equal to 1, it will activate the if chip and it will be the thin signal. So if save slot 1 is activated, then it will read it as, oh, this is true. So when a player joins, it will say, oh yeah, you're on save slot 1. Then it will go over here, and this is where we get the equals and if chip. So we want to get another equals and another if chip. We're going to make it. So let's put a random collectible or something in the room. We need something to count as a score. So if you get like maybe a 1, 2, or 3, you spawn here. Let's just spawn a CV2 button. It doesn't really need to be fancy or nothing. You can connect this to whatever you're building, like whatever the scoring system is going to be. So my scoring system is going to be pushing this button. And every time I push this button, it is going to make the int variable go up. So let's go ahead and copy another int variable. Just going to copy this. I'm going to make it so whenever you click this button, let's change the int variable name to something like score. We're also going to have that as a cloud variable. We're going to make all these cloud variables. And now whenever I hit this, it's going to make the score go up by 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And we're also going to connect the score to the delete button. So whenever you hit the delete button, It's going to delete the score. But obviously, another problem before it happens is if I am on save slot 3 and my score is 4, if I go to save slot 2 and I accidentally hit the delete button, it's going to delete the score for save slot 3. So therefore, we're actually going to copy this 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna name them something different. So this is gonna be score 1, and this will be score 2. Score 2. We're also going to select all this, move this over a bit, and we are going to actually, well, first let's go ahead and rename these two. This is going to be score 1. Score, oh, this is just a regular score, never mind. This is score 1. Score 1. Score 2. And now that we have our scoring system set up, if I'm on save slot 1 and my score is 5, if I hit this button on save slot 2, it will not delete it. So now that we got that settled, gonna copy the equals and if chip, just like greater or equal to an if chip, and we're gonna actually connect this to the score. So connect this to score 1, score 2, and score 3. And we're going to make it where if it equals 1, any of our scores, then we're going to respawn here. So it's going to set our transform here. Oh yeah, what triggers this is whenever we enter the game. So where did I put the event receiver for? I put that. Oh, I put it right here. I put it right here. So okay, yeah, don't worry about that. You want an event receiver right there. I didn't know I placed that down. We're gonna connect the else chip down to the other ones. And now if you have save slot 1, it's going to read your save slot 1 data. If you're on save slot 2, it's going to read your save slot 2 score. And if you're on save slot 3, it's going to read your save slot 3 score. Now, how is the scoring going to work? Because this is not. So what we want is we want a if chip. So copy 3 if chips. Yeah, 3 if chips for each score. Gonna place it right here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect it to the save slot. Everything that you connect to the save slot is gonna save the dot. So if you have score 1, 2, 3, you just want to connect it 1, 2, 3 to this. Now if we press the button, it's going to check what save slot we're on, and that's how we're going to get a score. So now that we have that set up, I'm just going to copy this down. I'm going to copy this maybe 2 times. Yeah, I'm going to copy this 2 times. This is going to be for transforming on each. We're going to connect 1, 2, 3. And the next one, oh, okay, I didn't change nothing over here, luckily. 1, 2, 3. And we're actually gonna connect the else chips to each, oh wait, no, not these. Well, actually, yeah, first let's change the number to 2, because this is all 1. This is going to be like if your score equals 2, and this will be if your score equals 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sorry if I'm making these small mistakes. It's kind of hard to wake up in the morning and do these, you know. Sometimes you're just a little bit dumb in the morning. A little bit dumb. Anyway, we're not going to copy this. You just need one set of these save files to read if it's the right save file. Anyway, what we're going to do is if you're on save slot 1, it's going to go over here. If your score is not 1, we're going to connect it to the first 2, not the second or third one. We're going to connect the second and the third one to each one. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, this reads save slot 1, this reads save slot 1, and this reads if you have a 3 in save slot 1. So we're going to connect it to the else chip. The same with this, and the same with the third. Now that we have it connected like that, I'll just look at it for a while so you guys can uh you know, understand what I did. And now if your score equals 2, you will transform here. And if your score equals a 3, then you will transform here. And now, well, first, before we test it, we need to connect this to the local player. Since I'm the only person that's really going to be using this in the room, I'm going to connect it to the local player. But in case you have multiple people join your room, I mean, it's okay to use the local player. But if you do got multiple people, you could connect it to the event receiver player joined. Because I know I didn't connect that to anything. Just go ahead and move it like this. So now, let me go ahead and save the room. And now that the room is saved, let's see if each of these are 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so now if I click on save slot 1, it's going to be a 1. And now this is going to be true, and these are going to be false because my save slot 1 is activated. And because my save slot 1 is activated, this will be true. It will go over here. Then after it goes over here, it will read my score and find out which one of these are true. And based on which one of these are true, it's going to teleport me to one of each of these spawn points. So I'm just going to press this one time just to show you. There you go. My score is 1 on save slot 1. So this will be true and nothing else. and it's going to respawn me there when I join back the game. The reason I got this greater or equal to is because for some maps, well, not some maps, the reason I got it greater or equal to is because obviously if you're on save slot 1, and let's say you leave one day and join back the next day, and you don't hit any other save slots, but you hit this again, like this, it will become 2. And if this was an equals chip, this would immediately turn to false. So always have it greater or equal to 1, because that way it will read your data no matter how many times you go on save slot 1. So now I'm gonna leave the game and I'll join and show you that I spawn in front of this barrel. So let me save one more time. I just don't want to lose my data. I've been through enough times where I've been working on maps for hours just to crash and lose that data. So I'd rather just make sure it's completely saved. Anyway, I'm going to go back to my dorm room. I'm not going to cut out any of this just to show you that it actually works, and I'm not changing nothing or cutting nothing out. Taking a No, not taking that long to load. It's nice not running into an infinite loading screen. My rooms, let's go to newest, join, and look as I teleport in front of the barrel when the room loads. When the room loads. And whoa, I'm in front of the barrel. That was amazing. Now if I hit this 2 times, I'm not going to spawn here, but I will spawn here. I will also not cut any of this out, so you guys can believe me. You know, building up trust is great. So, yeah, when it loads, like how the dorm room loads so quick, that's nice. Newest, join back, and loading, and voila, I'm in front of the box now. And now if I delete this, the reason I got it connected to the score too is now I deleted my save slot 1 and I deleted my score 1. And now, there you go. 3 different save slots. Obviously, I was using this as an example for teleporting, but obviously it gets way more complicated when you try to connect this to other gadgets. So if any of you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. And I will also make this room playable. The room will be called Save Slot Tutorial. Save Slot Tutorial. So if any of you are wondering, the name of the room will be Save Slot Tutorial. Anyway, if you liked the video, like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next video.